thank you for coming on today, GT.
Thank you for having me.
It's a very official setup
honored.
we have here
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Thanks to all the people in the background. Shout out to Cooper, our producer, Lily, Bella, Tamar, everyone here makes the podcast happen.
Nice.
Yeah. So, you grew up in Maryland. What was your early life like there?
I think of it as pretty typical suburban life.
Yeah.
I do sometimes compare it to my kids' life because we live in the city, even though it's like a residential neighborhood, but there's like no woods. So when I think of childhood, I think of woods because there was like woods behind our house and a creek. And, you know, like you probably hear like middle-aged people say this all the time, but it's like, you know, they would just like send us out at lunchtime in the summer and say, be home at dinner. And we would just like roam around our neighborhood.
Yeah.
I think it was like that, though it's possible I've just like heard that. That's how childhood was so many times.
Yeah.
That is just like in my brain now is like how, but I think that's what I did. You know, there was a neighbor and he had a basketball hoop and it was like, it felt in a lot of ways very free until you get older. And then, you know, it was like a drive to go anywhere. So then there's this period where you're older and you want to kind of get out of the neighborhood and you can't drive yet. So I remember that. But it was like, it was nice.
What do you think the biggest differences are from like Maryland and Colorado, like growing up and even now?
Yeah. Yeah. So again, it's like that whole environment that they were just like it's funny to me, like everybody says like Colorado is such an outdoorsy state, but we have to like go to the place to hike or go to outdoors, whereas I felt like outdoors was all around me because it wasn't a city so much. It was, you know, we had a very big Jewish community. It was more geographically spread out. So like, it's like I had friends who lived in Virginia, like in another city, you know, like, but it was very big Jewish community. So I went to a Jewish day school, but I had like 90 kids in my class, just in my class. So you kind of always grew up with that here, and it's kind of nice. So you grow up with a sense that like we're kind of small, we have each other, we need to commit to each other, right? You know, there it was also a strong and good Jewish community, but because it was so big, you just kind of like took for granted that there was going to be a big Jewish day school, and there was going to be lots of synagogues, and you'd have lot of choices. Yeah.
Did you play any sports growing up at the Jewish day school?
Yeah, so I played varsity baseball.
Okay.
Potomac Valley Athletic Conference champions. 2000. Yeah, so that was really fun. I played left field in high school. And yeah, I looked forward all year to baseball season. And when we couldn't play spring sports when we were seniors because we went to Israel for like 3 months, like our whole last semester of school was in Israel. So
Senior year?
Graduated in February and then went to Israel, which was really cool. That. But that meant that your last year was a junior on the baseball team. Last year of Color War was as a junior. So juniors were really the
juniors
leaders.
Like senior.
And I remember that we lost a playoff game my junior year, and the realization that I would never play a meaningful competitive baseball game ever again at 17 was like pretty devastating. I remember, you know. Now I'm very happy to play Sunday softball.
Yeah, that's going to be hard for the baseball team, just only having juniors as the oldest players.
It is. Yeah. So, but you get a lot of playing time then as a classman.
How did you first get involved at DJDS? Like, how did you hear about us?
Yeah. So we moved here for my wife's job in 2014, just after we got married. Neither of us had ever been to Colorado. Didn't know anybody in Colorado. And I was finishing my PhD in education. And I had no idea what I wanted to do. I think most of my life I've had no idea what I wanted to do. Just like take it a little bit at a time. But I had done two things. I had been a teacher and I had been a lawyer. And of the two, I kind of preferred to be a teacher. Explored both. I liked the school I went to growing up, so of course I like Google, like, is there a Jewish day school? There's a Jewish day school. They actually had an opening for a history teacher while I was finishing my PhD, And it wasn't the time yet because I wasn't done, but I met Mr. Snyder and Mr. Hay, who was still a principal at the time. And I just I loved everything they described about it. One thing stuck with me. They said, we really prioritize at our school the kids having adult-like experiences like this, like producing a podcast. Yeah. And I thought that was a really cool way to think about high school. And it wasn't the right time, but then a few years later when I had finished and I had done something else and I wanted to get back into teaching, there was an opening, and I haven't looked back. Yeah.
What's probably the biggest difference or the biggest challenge for you going from teacher to now principal?
There are so many to choose from. The biggest challenge is when you're a teacher, you are responsible mainly for yourself, right? There's a very defined set of responsibilities. You have your students, your your classes, and that's what you're responsible for. You are, as principal, responsible for the whole, for everything that happens, whether or not you feel like it's under your control. So you're responsible for a lot of things that are not under your control, which is not the best part of it. And I'm just lucky that so I'm dependent on a lot of other people, right, to make things happen. And I'm just lucky that in general, I can really count on all the people here to make things happen. But it is a different feeling. And the other big difference is it's a lot of problem solving. So most of the things that you have to pay attention to are the problems, right? And I think for a lot of people that's really, really fun, right? But for me that's not I prefer more just coming in and presenting and having a discussion and not necessarily solving a problem. And then one really good thing, since I mentioned two things that I found challenging, is that when you have an idea that affects, I guess it's the flip side of the first one, right? When you have an idea that affects more than you and your class, you can just do it. You don't have to convince somebody else that this would be good for the school. It's not that I love making decisions. I'm a very indecisive person. But it is nice to be able, when I really strongly feel like something should happen or shouldn't happen, to kind of decide. You get to decide the overall. So, that was. Do you remember your first day teaching here at DJDS? I do. So I taught 6th grade. So it's that day when only 6th graders are here. Yeah. And I have done, every day I've had the first day with 6th graders, I've done the same thing, which is that we play Bingeo, the geography bingo game with the globe, and I give clues, and you look at the globe, and you figure it out from that. And so that's first day, and that's a very chill day because it's just 6th graders. But what I really remember is the next day, because it's the seniors who I didn't know, right? I hadn't taught anybody before, right? So the seniors with the white overalls, right, and the whole thing, and that was really overwhelming, but also very endearing. So I remember that very, very well. I remember my first year. This is a tough place to be a first-year teacher.
Yeah.
I remember that from the beginning of the first year. Nobody trusts you yet. You have to establish your credibility. They're are you really one of us? Do you get this whole
Because some teachers have been here forever.
Thing. You do. It's so much easier when you already know people. So I remember that was definitely the hardest year here.
Yeah. During your time as principal, you led a lot of new things, Wednesday classes and new programming and scheduling and the phone ban. What motivated you for those changes? What really pushed that forward?
So if you think about whether you're a teacher or principal, running a school means you get to decide how a group of people spend their time. And that should terrify and anybody who's that's all we have, right, is time. And when you have the power and responsibility to tell people how to spend their time, you have to take that really, really seriously. And it really part of the reason I like working at a school is I like thinking about that. Like, what is a good use of your time at this stage of your life? What role should you play in making that decision? What role should grown-ups play in making that decision? And it just, like, the idea of wasting your time drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Or the idea that you wouldn't have, like, real quality time here and that we would do everything in our power to make this a place where the time is spent meaningfully. And so it really just came thinking through, we do a lot of really, you can work on that in classes. So within the constraints of a world where you have to take math and history and like everything else, right? How do we make that time most meaningful? Fine. That's one thing. But there's so much more to life, right?
Yeah.
Than the classes that you have to take or colleges want you to take or you think you should take, right? There's so much more to life than that. And we need to make time for all those other things, you know, whether that's learning how to play an instrument or getting, you know, ridiculously good at making legal arguments or learning how to talk to people, right? Like in an interview format or putting something out there in the world that other people will enjoy.
Yeah.
I wanted to make time for that. That was like the top priority.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where Wednesdays came from. That, and you know, look, it's mixed. It's like, when you open things up that way, will everybody use the time in the ways that I had intended or imagined all day? Probably not, but at least it gives us the time and space that kind of stuff could happen. And if you think about it, the phones are the same thing, right? It's, I want people to be engaged in a certain kind of quality time. And much like the phone pile when you go out to dinner with your friends, you know, I wanted us to have a phone pile so that wasn't getting in the way of the best effort we could make to have quality time.
Yeah. I think the DJDS students greatly appreciate, like, everything that you've been doing, like the Wednesday classes and everything.
Good.
Like, everyone in here is having a blast doing this.
Good.
And I do think putting away the phones has not just helped me focus in class, but also like focus on my friends. Like during passing period, it's not just, time to check sports or Instagram or whatever.
Right.
It's like check your friends.
Yeah, I think in a good way we have almost forgotten how dystopian it was when the phones were in the pockets. And I mean, there's so many ways in which it was dystopian. Every time a kid left the room, a teacher would have, you know, like, I try to get myself to a point. It is a little weird, right? Like when you're putting on a song and dance and like some audience member, right? Like has left. It's like, oh, did I lose? So there's like a little bit of that no matter what. But look, people need to get up. They need to go to the bathroom. They need to take their walkabouts sometimes. Like that's okay. Yeah. But when people had phones, there was this like crushing sensation of like, oh, how am I supposed to compete with the possibility, like with that, right? So there was that like cat and mouse game in class that I think a lot of people feel relieved is mostly behind us. But I'm not even talking about that when I say dystopian. I mean that even if you had like the best possible class, everybody was following the phone rules, everybody was sitting focused throughout class, the second the bell rang, like a Pavlovian dog, right? Bell rings, right? You go straight to your... And I'm that way too. Like in many situations, I've trained myself to check my phone. And we only have 5 minutes between passing periods. And you ask, what do I remember from childhood, right? So, passing periods were awesome in childhood. I had the best conversations, like in the hall, in the room. I would look forward to, like, so much to seeing the person in the next class. I wasn't going to interact with them in class, but I was going to interact with them during the passing period. And I just wasn't seeing that. I just wasn't seeing people have those interactions. And I hope that now they have more of that. But I think we forget just how little we interacted during, those 5 minutes.
And I think it's harder for the content to soak in because you're in a deep conversation, class ends, and then you're just on your phone. And it's just kind of all goes
exactly. So the thing that sometimes happens now, which is like you just keep talking about it, even though the bell rang, it was not happening as much. Look, and I know there's a lot of stuff on the phone that does help people stay relaxed, regulated, connected in some ways. People have made all kinds of arguments about the importance of being able to check in with their friends in other school, their parents, or whatever. And I get all that. I mean, that's the reality we all live in. That the problem, sometimes we make the cigarette analogy, right? That it's like, this is an unhealthy thing that you're addicted to, so we've just got to take it away, right? Yeah. And the problem with that is cigarettes don't do anything useful. You can largely say they don't do anything useful for you. I guess they relax some people and things like that. But the phone we need, like, I want a flip phone. I can't pay my mortgage anymore without my smartphone. Yeah. Right? Like, I'm sure there's a way to do it, but I don't know how to do that anymore. And so it is useful, and I get that it's useful, and so it makes it more complicated to try to remove from our lives than cigarettes. But I don't know. We compromise.
Yeah, I think it was a good compromise.
Yeah.
So out of all the things you've done here, what is the one thing you're most singularly proud of?
As principal, specifically?
As principal and as teacher. We can do both.
Oh boy, that feels a little bit high pressure. Honestly, it depends on the day. I have felt lucky that there have been many moments of intense pride. Yeah. Have to do a shout out to my moot court students. Really proud of them. But on any given day, sometimes I'm really proud of how much more singing happens, how much more music is played when I see just people sitting in the halls on their guitar. Yeah. Right? That makes me really proud because that was not happening so much a few years before, even though that's a very natural thing for teenagers to do. But this is going to be an unsatisfying answer because I can't name names exactly. Yeah. But the real pride is in the individuals who came to me to talk about a class they should take or whether on a Wednesday or not, and it felt like they were kind of a little bit aimless, a little bit just looking for something, and either by creating a new class or by just finding them the right opportunity, right? You could just see them start to move around here with more of a sense of purpose, right? And so I know it's a little bit abstract. There's a lot of individual stories that are not mine to tell. How this person found their purpose or that person. But in general, I see a lot of people around here who seem to be acting really purposefully, and I'm really proud of whatever contributions I've been able to make to that. And a lot of people, there's a lot of teachers who are guiding them on that path and providing the instruction and opportunities. But that has kind of been my focus for a while. And one random thing. Okay. I really like how we do graduation now, that different people speak to different.
Yeah, I like that
Mr.
too.
Snyder was amazing at talking to everybody.
I didn't know. I thought it was always how it is.
No, so he used to do that, and again, that was fine and good. I love hearing teachers talk to students at graduation, and I don't know if proud of. I just enjoy that every year. That's just something I look forward to every year.
Yeah. So with the DJDS community, being so tight, and I feel like you've really helped with that. How do you think the United States needs to really come together when it's been so divided recently?
Mm-hmm. Do I get to ask you some questions?
Yeah, you can ask me. We can have,
Do you feel a sense that this is a historic moment? Does it feel that way to you? This time you're living through is different from, not all of the times, it's not unprecedented, but is different from the time that I would have grown up in or your parents. Parents and I are similar.
I don't think so, because every year, especially when it's come election, everyone's this is the most important election in the history of the U.S. It's just how is it the most important election every time it's a new election?
Right. So you've kind of just like become numb to this idea that like we are standing at the like precipice of like this climactic moment in history.
Yeah.
Like you just like aren't buying that anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know.
like things happen, people come and go,
Yeah,
leaders
exactly.
come and go, policies come and go. You don't feel okay. So that's interesting. Can I poll the audience quickly?
Yeah.
How many of you generally feel like Soren that like, yeah, like a lot of important things happen all the time, but this is not like a pivotal moment in American history or world history? How many of you feel that way? So since they're not on camera, I see 5
we got
and
some
a
hands
half,
up.
6.5 out of 8.
Yeah.
Right? Something like that. Okay, so that is my read on your
But maybe that's
generation.
just like kids my age.
I think that's probably true of most Americans feel that way. I don't feel that way. I feel, and I'm supposed to feel that way. As a history teacher, I'm supposed to say, yeah, it's been a wild ride, like all of American history. You know, so we gotta like keep everything in perspective, and I feel that way. I try to feel that way, that we're not in a moment of particular danger specifically with what you're saying, that there seems so much disunity in the country. Obviously, it's been worse. There's been a civil war. Hundreds of thousands of people died, right? And I wouldn't say that, like, I feel sure that something like that is going to happen. That feels kind of unlikely. And yet, I go, maybe it's just having little kids and, like, worrying about their future. I feel a sense of worry for the country that I'm not sure your generation feels, or most people under 40, say, feel.
Yeah.
And so part of me feels like we got to jolt you into into paying attention to this so that you can make it better or play a role in making it better. And that's not my style, right? Like, I don't even want to tell you what specifically I'm worried about, because then I'll like shape how you and I don't even know completely what I'm worried about, right? It's like a vague feeling that like something is off. I actually, it's something I always debate with myself, like how much should I get into that with students? Like should I try to and like I'm offering this like Wednesday class about the history of this moment, and I don't think very many people are interested in it because, again, it's just not something. It's actually not something you enjoy thinking about. It's not something necessarily, and you might be right, and I hope you're right. Anyway, that was a ramble as usual, but
that was interesting. You could, because you are in a very rare position where the kids do look up to you, and you could like really shape how they see things.
Yeah, and I really don't want to look at my role in that way, right? I want you to know a lot of things, and I want you to know how a lot of people feel about things. I don't really want you to know how I feel about, not because I have such weird or like extreme positions.
Just trying to be unbiased,
but because it's just I just think my role is to show you stuff and raise questions and answer your questions as best I can. So I know that also limits kind of how I can answer your question, but I just don't see a lot of people feeling really good about being about where the United States is in its story. Regardless of how they're voting. Right?
Yeah,
that is the unifying thing. The unifying thing is that everybody seems to feel that we've lost something, that we're in a hole, that we're I'm trying it has been hard lately to kind of to create this feeling that we're in it together and we're doing all right, and we all agree on what makes America great. Right? Like there isn't necessarily that feeling of shared right, of a shared value and purpose. And again, maybe that's only if you watch too much news,
Yeah.
right? Maybe that's only if you watch too much national news, and maybe because you're getting your news from different places or not paying attention to it, or maybe that's actually healthier,
Yeah.
right? And so you don't see that level of disunity. By the way, where do you get your news?
Where do I get my news?
Yeah.
Usually social media, or I don't know. I try not to really look at the news. I'll overhear my parents talking about it.
Yeah.
Or my friends. But I feel like I'm not too
So
deep
it's
into
in the
news.
air.
Yeah,
Okay.
just like in the air.
Okay.
And I'll give it a sniff.
So you're on social media.
Yeah.
What social medias are you on? Medias? Can you say what social medias are you on? No, just media.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's plural.
Just like Instagram.
Just Instagram.
Yeah,
okay,
just
so
Instagram.
so not X.
No.
Okay, or anything like that, and not TikTok.
Not TikTok.
Really? Is
Not
that
TikTok.
unusual?
I feel like it's not too unusual because there's a thing on Instagram. It's called Reels. So it's like basically the same thing, like short videos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And there definitely are reels with political content.
Yeah.
Do you just like downvote them or not pay attention to them, and so the algorithm doesn't give them to
Yeah,
you?
I feel like the algorithm doesn't feed too much. I actually do get some like very pro-Palestinian things, which
Okay.
I disagree with, but I watch them out of interest because I'm like, whoa, like how do you see that? And then my feed just keeps giving it to me. So
Yeah.
my feed thinks like sometimes that I'm pro-Palestinian, like stuff that I very much disagree with.
How do you think it came to that conclusion?
Because I keep watching the videos.
Oh, because they're curious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm not liking the videos,
Right.
but they see.
Yeah. They
the
just
watch
want
time.
engagement. They
Yeah.
want like time spent.
And it got
like,
so bad
you
that I
know,
had to
Got it,
refresh everything.
yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had to clear it out.
Okay. I'm sure you've learned some things.
Yeah. It was pretty interesting.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So with football season, like full in swing, the playoffs. What are your predictions? Super Bowl predictions right here, right now.
Yeah. All chalk. Broncos, Seahawks.
Broncos, Seahawks.
Broncos, Seahawks. The one seeds. Yeah. The only obviously any given Sunday, but the only team I see really challenging the Broncos is the Patriots.
Yeah.
I think the Broncos they have the confidence and the swagger this year, and,
I think so too.
They have Sean Payton.
Home field advantage too.
Home field advantage. Maybe it'll be 75 degrees, and the New England players won't know what to do. With
Yeah.
this. I mean, they have to get through the Bill. Got to take the Bills seriously.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't feel like the Bills here.
Yeah, I don't think so
It
either.
just.
They're just
And on the other side, there aren't really many good teams in the NFC. But the Seahawks seem to have that kind of swagger. Like their comeback against the Rams.
Yeah, they got a good defense,
Really
too.
impressed me. And I mean, we got to figure out what to do with the Mr. Levy versus the school bet. Right?
Yeah.
Like if that happens. So
Yeah.
I'm also just really looking
is there a
forward
bet
to that.
is there a real bet going on?
Well, I think if they're in the Super Bowl, we've got to do something big.
Yeah,
with
I think so too.
Because school is mostly Broncos fans, and then you have the most prominent non-Broncos fan team is in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right. Like if it had been an Eagles Broncos, I would have. If it's Bears Broncos, then Spencer, right? Obviously will be. So we gotta make something of this. Are you? If it were Bears Broncos,
I would probably pull for the Bears more.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good loyal son. You
Yeah.
too tomorrow? Yeah. Good.
Yeah. I would say
I hope my kids are there. And
yeah. How'd you rate the Eagles game? That viewing experience?
Miserable.
Yeah.
Absolutely miserable. Right? It's you just have this sinking feeling the entire time that you're going to lose to a worse team.
Yeah.
A team
The
that
Eagles are
that,
just the better
that, that
team.
is worse than
Yeah.
you because and it's I hate the idea of criticizing the best when people say, "Oh, so and so sucks," right?
It's like, no, he doesn't.
Saquon Barkley sucked yesterday. No, he did something that almost no human being on this planet can do, right? He gained more than 100 yards rushing, I think, against a quality opponent. So I hate criticizing professional athletes. I hate slightly less criticizing the coaching, although they also are obviously much better at it than I would be. So even that feels wrong. And yet I spent that whole game feeling why are these people not doing X, Y, and Z? It was not a great watching experience.
Yeah. I would say I'm having a great like sports year because my parents, they both went to IU. And Indiana's probably they're playing great.
That's right. Yeah, you just stopped yourself from jinxing what we all think is by far the most likely outcome. Yeah.
They went to Indiana. The Bears and Broncos are both doing amazing. The Nuggets, even though Jokic is injured, they're still the number 2 seed in the West.
Yep.
And the Avalanche are like by far the best team.
Yep.
So I would say
it's a good sports year.
Going,
and don't you find that's how it works? Like when it rains, it pours.
Yeah, just like everything's going great. Yeah, so I feel like I've been pretty blessed with my sports.
Yeah, nice. That's good. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
You know, if when you have those lean years.
Yeah.
Right. That's
whenever I'm having a bad day, I'm like, at least I have the Broncos and Bears. At least, yeah.
So is that a change too? I have the perception, I don't know if this is right, that fewer and fewer people your age like watch a game from beginning to end.
I think so.
Because you're raised on like Sunday Ticket, right? And the bet. Sports betting.
Sports betting.
So if you ask what do I worry about? Like this is so not as important as like the fate of the system of American government or whatever else I might worry about. But I think hot take it will ruin sports. It will absolutely ruin sports.
Why do you think that?
So it's like the Chauncey Billups thing, right? The temptation to cheat will be so strong. There will be so much money available to people who are going to like essentially insider trade, right?
Yeah.
Like I'll tip you off that with all the prop bets that I'm going to sit this person in this quarter, this person in that quarter, that you'll get so much manipulation of the game to try to make some money on the betting markets that people will totally lose trust and it will start to feel like WWF or like some kind of like fake shit.
Yeah. I don't even like feel, how do I put this? I wouldn't knock the players too much though, because say like I grew up like in a bad neighborhood and everything's wrong. Like, okay, maybe I just have one more turnover and like I could make all my friends so much money. Nobody would know. Yeah. Like that's very tempting.
Yeah. It's so tempting. I don't see how human beings resist that temptation now that, and I don't know how you would stop this, if you would reverse this, but I do think it will really take its toll on like interest in professional sports. Yeah.
I hope it doesn't go too far.
I hope so too, but
with all that.
That's a worry.
Yeah.
Sorry to be a downer.
No. So you're stepping down as principal. Could you tell us more about that? And what's your decision towards that?
Yeah. So, it goes back to your question about what was different. And many of the things that were different from teaching, I didn't like as much as teaching, right? Yeah. I really like teaching, right? And it's not bad. And I want to be super clear. I would do it again, like no regrets. Had to make the choice again, I would do it again. Even if you told me I would have to do it for like 5 years, I would do it again. But it's not... It became clear to me fairly early that I wasn't going to like it as much as teaching. And so it was just a question of when. Like, when do I go back to teaching? And between Ms. Sapiens being, I think, such a strong and capable leader who I could pass the baton off to, like, it just felt like why not now?
Yeah, because you didn't want to just drag it on and have it in the back of your mind.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's like I'm a sprinter, to use like a sport. Like I like to go hard at something for as long as I can go. And I felt, you can keep sprinting, but you can't keep sprinting forever. And so, I saw someone up there who I could pass the baton to. And there was an opportunity, and the school was so like kind and gracious about, because I want to be part of the school community, and you can stay and be a teacher, and that's the dream, that I got to do both, and that I'll get to do the one I like best. Yeah.
Well, we would like to have you around at the school for many more years to come.
Yeah. I wish I could say the same to you, but I hope you graduate. Actually, I hope we don't have
my last year.
I think you'll make it.
Yeah.
And I hope we stay in touch. So.
Yeah. Okay, that's all the time we have today. Thank you for joining us on the podcast. This was Dr. GT. I'm Soren Goldberg-Bohler. As always, thank you.